Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of Wake Up and Dream. I am Kelly here with Sarah and Lisa to just kind of reflect a little bit. It's kind of the end of the summer, and we just kind of were talking a little bit about what the summer has brought to us, the good, the bad, the things that came together, the things that didn't happen. And then we decided on a quote. Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away, by Maya Angelou. And it just resonated with each of us in a totally different way, which is why I love the three of us getting together. We always unpack these quotes so uniquely. And I know maybe some of our listeners have heard this quote before, and it brings you to a moment that you remember maybe yesterday or maybe 10, 15 years ago, that you had that aha moment or something that literally took your breath away and kind of caught you off guard and just made you sit in that moment and just be grateful. I feel like that is something that we take for granted on a day-to-day basis, where the good things happen, but we don't pause to be grateful for that moment, that experience, whether you're alone in peace, in meditation, walking in nature, or with a group of people. That was absolutely amazing to experience that moment with. But I don't know about you gals, but this is one quote that I've always kind of had in the back of my head as a great reminder of being grateful, and remembering those moments that are just so unique to us and that can create that encouragement and that positivity going forward throughout your week.
For sure. That is so true. So when I think of measuring my life by the number of breaths, like that's not what it's about, right? I mean, if we were always having to be conscious of every breath that we're taking, like that would be so boring. For one, why would we want to do that?
Right. Or it kind of reminds me too of like how old we're going to be when we finally
Right.
pass on. Like, can I make it to 60? Will I make it to 85? Will I reach 100? Like, that's how I kind of feel. It's so, you know,
Yes.
not
It's
important.
right. And I think that's very futuristic. Like it's always kind of hoping that you've got another year of life, or you're hoping that you reach a certain number. And that puts our mind maybe in a state of hopefulness, but I think we oftentimes miss the present because we're always like, well, when I turn 65, I'll be able to do this, or when I retire, or whatever it is. And we forget to literally look for and anticipate the moments that wow us. They can be small moments. They can be, maybe not even significant for other people, but for you, they're moments that you're like, oh my gosh, this I'm going to remember for the rest of my life.
So, as we were opening up and just kind of catching up on our summers, I was talking to Lisa and Kelly about this last week. It's the last week here in New York before school starts. And I have been relying a lot on my parents' help this week because there's no camp. I'm working and doing all the things. And I was looking at it from, how I feel like I'm missing something, like I'm missing out. I wish that I could take this week and just do all the things on our summer list that we didn't get a chance to do. And Lisa reminded me that those moments with their grandparents are huge, huge moments. And they are things that they will cherish, that my parents will cherish, despite my parents probably wanting to, have an extra glass of wine at the end of the day after hanging out with my kids. But it is a really special time for them. And as you were just talking, Lisa, this always happens. Like things come to me, like when we kind of kick off the episode. But there was a moment on Tuesday of this week when my parents were here. They were out in the yard with the kids, and I was working, and I heard someone yelling. And immediately I'm like, oh my God, somebody's hurt. Like, let me go look out the window. And I went and I looked out the window, and I got a picture. and we have this giant Connect Four game. And Connect Four has been a game that my parents have been playing with my kids all summer, like inside all summer, outside, whatever. And it's like, I
I
just saw
love it.
them playing. And Ben, who is very animated when he wins, we have to work on that. But he was like, I won. He was like yelling at my parents. And I could just see him yelling, see the animated like hand motions. He's Italian, you could tell. And I was just like, and my dad and my mom were laughing. And it was just such a sweet, sweet moment. And it's like, it's okay that I'm missing, quote unquote, on this week because they are gaining so much. And like that moment is something
Yes.
that I feel like I took a picture and I sent it to my husband because he was in his office in the city. And I was like, it's just so nice to see that they're able to do that.
That is so precious. And I think sometimes we forget that, we want to be in the moments, but sometimes giving that gift of them creating moments with grandma and grandpa, that's a gift that you're giving them. Those relationships will bond and be precious, precious moments in their life, which I just love it, love it, love it.
And it was so
I
nice as like me looking from the window, seeing that relationship. Like I know friends of my kids that like they don't have that type of relationship with their parents where their parents are always helping and here to babysit and this and that. And I'm lucky to have my parents. My kids are lucky to have my parents. And it was like that moment was just really special. And they didn't even know that I was like creeping in the window. But it was just a really special moment for me to see that. And then like later when they came in, I was like, I heard you guys yelling and I thought someone was injured, but I didn't realize it was just a really intense game of Connect Four. And my dad started laughing. He's like, it was so much fun playing with them. So it was moments like that, that seem so little and insignificant, but are really, really huge.
definitely, definitely. And I my our pastor has called them people gifts. And that's really what the moments, if you want to say anything about those moments, they have very little to do with things and they have everything to do with people because that's the true gift that we get in this, existence on this planet. We get to create moments with our people gifts. And so that is so precious. I know I just spent the last 3 days camping with my husband and my parents. And the moments that I love and cherish are watching like just my parents interact with my husband. My dad's a 7 on the Enneagram. He's extremely funny. He's just a hoot. and and he loves adventure. And so even though he's almost 77 years old, he is like, come on, let's do it. And so there was a moment just 2 days ago where my husband and him were doing a cornhole tournament and they had each won one. And so this was the championship. And of course, my dad was like, oh yeah, you're going to be eating crow. I got this in the bag. He's just talking smack because that's just who he is.
He should play at Connect Four with my son. We'll see all the smack talking that goes on.
So mom and I decided that we were going to have we had one natural casing wiener left over from a previous meal, and we had some barbecue. So the grand prize was they got a chili dog. The winner got a chili dog. And so the entire game they are cackling and razzing each other about who's going to win. And and for me, I wasn't like involved in the game, but my moment was like my dad, my parents, we don't know when our last moments on this planet are going to be. And I got to share that in that moment and see the joy and just the laughter and the life that that took place during that little game. I mean, it was just precious.
And probably like not taking the moment for granted, right? Because like you say, our days are limited and you never know. And it's like making sure that you're conscious of those little moments and taking that breath and going, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing experience right now, right here. I don't want to be anywhere else, but experiencing this joy and this laughter and these memories. And I like how you gals have taken this kind of with our parents. We've kind of gone with the stories of our parents. So I will just tag along to that. Most of our listeners know that I've lived in Colorado my whole life, but this past year, we moved to Kentucky along with my parents who retired and my sister, her husband, and their 3 girls. So all 10 of us moved from Colorado to Kentucky. And it really has like given me this like year of just joy and peace being with them. We didn't have that in Colorado. We lived on different sides of the Rocky Mountains and we didn't get to see each other, or go to church together, just spend a random Saturday together or stop by someone's house on a Tuesday after school. Like that just wasn't anything that my sister and I have ever experienced ever since we left home, basically after college. And it has been such a joy to have my nieces around, to have my sister and her husband in our son's life, and to just be able to have my parents here. Like we had to head up to Indiana. My husband had a knee surgery done yesterday morning, and it was so great and comforting to know that my mom could just come over the night before and spend the night. And she had this, amazing night alone with Jace, and to give her and Jace that experience together. And then my dad shows up to, my son's football practices. And it's just, I'm not taking this season for granted because you never know where life is going to take any one of us. And it's just really being grateful that we have this time and these memories. It really does take my breath away when I step back out of, like, I feel like Sarah, when you're not in the moment, but you're peeping through the window just to see what's going on and just allowing that joy to just take over, and be so present and letting the fears and the unknown of the future take over. Like just be there in the moment is just so special.
I love this. I love this so much because I think this quote kind of encapsulates maybe from a different angle what we really see as our purpose with our podcast. Wake up and dream. Like, don't wait till you go to bed to start dreaming, but live in the moments. And what both of you shared were you intentionally, like moving from Colorado to Kentucky, that is intentional, right? It wasn't just like, oh, well, that just kind of happened. No, you intentionally made this move so that you could have those moments that weren't possible geographically and time wise in another state. So I think how many of us are on the conveyor belt of life and we're just living the survival mode, right? I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, there were so many times when the kids were 2, 3, 4, and I would be like, oh my gosh, when is it nap time? When do I get, 9 o'clock, I could finally breathe, like I would be wishing the moments away instead of fully taking advantage of the moments. And I know that is tough when the kids are little. Like it just
Which is
is.
kind of what I've been doing this week, Lisa,
Mm.
and just because it's such a hard week to juggle work and kids as we approach
Mhm.
back to school. And even though like I was picking out those moments and appreciating those moments, but it's hard to, you know, like it's really hard to juggle
Get
it
all the
all.
things done, right?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, we got 2 more days, and then we're going to get back into a routine. It's almost like I feel bad that I'm wishing my summer away. I feel bad that I'm relying on my parents so much. But then you kind of brought it back to like, don't feel bad that you're giving them these memories and these experiences, you know? And it kind of shifted my perspective on this week. It doesn't make it any less challenging to play this juggling game, but you're right though. Like just there are moments and you know seasons in life where you're just kind of like looking for the next thing, you
Mhm.
know.
For
And
sure.
we, even though we are working hard to not let that define our purpose and our meaning in life, it comes up every once in a while, like on tough weeks. So I appreciate you, Lisa, for kind of reining me back in. I was getting in that space and you reined me back in and like just made me look at the present as a blessing.
Well, and thank you for thanking me. But here's what I think is so powerful is that God gave us each other. And, I'm a few steps ahead of you. Like my kids are high school age, like and college and beyond. And so when I hear you, like, we have a clouded vision because of all of the things that the day to day involve. But then the beautiful thing is the gift of people in our lives that maybe are a step ahead, have a different perspective. I have people in my life that are a few steps ahead of me, not, because their kids are, they're married, they have kids, and they bring me perspective to remind me of the moments and to really um I love that little tweak in your thinking has put a beautiful twist on it. Like that's a gift, and you gave that
You're my
gift.
people gift, Lisa.
Yay! Yay, yay, yay. I love it. So these moments are so, so precious. And we just want to remind each and every one of you that you are a gift. When you show up in a relationship, whether that be with your kids, your parents, your friends, you are that gift and you get to create the moments that will be lasting forever. And that's called intentional living, right? I mean, that is living to the fullest. That's waking up and really dreaming each moment into existence the way that we want it. And we know that it's not always going to be the way we want it. But even in the mistakes, even in the, unexpected things that come up, when we're looking and anticipating those moments to be gifts, that's true living. And that's where life is. Life is in those moments that, yes, this is it. So thank you so much for joining us for another episode. We are so, so grateful for each of you that listen in each and every week. And we invite you to follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, and mostly you are a gift to us. And so we want to connect with you. So be sure to check out the show notes where you can see all of our information on how to connect with us. And we hope that you are inspired, encouraged to live your life to the full in the moments of each day and truly wake up and dream. Until next time, have a great one and keep dreaming.